Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crypto Marketing Insights. Today, I am going to just quickly go over the status of blockchain marketing and how it is being affected by the current crypto civil war. What? Yes, the current crypto civil war. That is the ongoing infighting between the different cryptos like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Well, Bitcoin isn't Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Cash Satoshi. Let's see. There's Bitcoin Cash, which is the hard fork of crypto of Bitcoin. There's Bitcoin Cash, ABC, which is the Roger Ver group. And now, and on most exchanges, that's now just referred to as Bitcoin Cash, after they hard forked with the group led by Craig Wright, which is Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's vision, right? Or BCHSV or BSV. I don't know. Whichever of the acronyms you are looking at it with. Just between those cryptos alone, there is a massive civil war going on that is just overall bad for the state of marketing in crypto. And the main problem that the crypto market is facing as a result of this little civil war that's being fought by the various Bitcoin Cash elements and the Bitcoin crypto itself. The main problem is that it completely detracts and distracts from the focus that should be put on the cryptocurrencies right now, which is to actually roll out upgrades to the technology that are long-awaited and important for further development and further mass adoption. Without that, the market stands a little chance of growing past $1 trillion or whatever. Right now it's like 100 something billion, but it doesn't have much of a chance to get up to the all-time highs until the tech is able to deliver some more. Right now, we're still in the very speculative phase of, can this stuff deliver? So far, so good in many respects. The technology of, for example, Bitcoin hasn't come crashing, right? Everyone always says it's never been hacked, but that's just not true. Anyone who knows their Bitcoin history will know that it was hacked once, and that a programmer was able to make, many billions of coins or some outrageously high number of coins. It was temporary because the Bitcoin community decided to do something unprecedented, which was very controversial, and that was they rolled back the hack, right? And they essentially extinguished the life of the fake, or not fake, but the hacked coins that had been created because of a failure in the system that someone exploited. So Bitcoin is not perfect in that sense, but it has survived. And it did survive that attack. And just a few months ago, again, Bitcoin Cash, one of their coders, actually, one of their developers, discovered another huge hole in Bitcoin, which again would have allowed somebody to surreptitiously create Bitcoin on the sly. And the guy who developed it could have easily made himself a few Bitcoin here and there, and it might have gone unnoticed. Who knows? It's remarkable. And the fact that he chose to not make himself a vast fortune and instead, showed the problem to a competing cryptocurrency, that is Bitcoin, and they fixed it before it apparently was ever exploited, apparently. It underpins that there are still significant technological problems with the cryptocurrencies, even the one that people consider to be the gold standard, right? Well, it's not the gold standard by technology, obviously, because there are clearly other cryptocurrencies that have been developed later with newer technology, with better technology, that are faster, that are more efficient, that are, any other number of qualities better, but Bitcoin is the household brand name that everyone knows. So obviously it gets the most attention. And because of all of this infighting between the different groups, we're seeing an enormous waste of effort going into not just covering it like I'm doing, but I'm just a podcaster or YouTuber, like stating my opinion. Because of all this infighting, they're detracting from the efforts from major media outlets, for example, or from actual development happening on the coin, right? They're putting energy on fighting it out. So, for example, even something as simple as graphics, right? There's a graphic designer somewhere or a team of them who made a new graphic for Bitcoin SV. And basically they made it look just like the Bitcoin logo. They just capitalized the letter B and made it not italicized. And they straightened the logo instead of being at a slant, they up and down. Like, obviously they're doing, and they put a little golden SV that's barely visible, frankly. So they basically made it look like it says Bitcoin as much as possible and very little of anything else. And they're doing that obviously to glom off of the success of Bitcoin, because Craig Wright claims that Bitcoin SV is the real Bitcoin. And also, well, I'm not even going to get into the issue of Craig Wright and the ridiculousness of his claim that he's Satoshi, and at the same time creating Satoshi's vision, and at the same time doing all this civil war stuff, and at the same time trashing other cryptocurrencies and other people who are promoting Bitcoin, right? So I'm not even going to go there, because that whole discussion, that's just more of, that's, you know what, there's the one element of that which I will touch is his attack on Andreas Antonopoulos, who's an amazingly well-spoken Bitcoin advocate who says, I mean, he's a bit of, I guess maybe I wouldn't necessarily even call him a Bitcoin maximalist, but he believes very much in cryptocurrencies and is able to really clearly explain, even to the layman, why these complicated technological topics, first of all, he makes them very easy to understand, and why they're important, right, to people from now and into the future. That element of trash talking a reasonable sounding person who's very intelligent, clearly qualified to talk what he's talking about, and who doesn't go on personal attacks and ad hominem attacks about other people in the industry. Trash talking that kind of frankly a role model for the industry, it doesn't serve any good for marketing or for business or for attracting people or to the crypto world or for getting mass adoption. None of those things are improved in their potential. All of them are hurt in their potential, negatively impacted by this kind of needless infighting. So that's what I have to say about that whole ridiculous side show. On the actual battle going on between, for example, Ethereum and its detractors like EOS, right, or TRON, any of the companies that are chomping at its heels. There's a lot of trash talking about Ethereum, and it's not decentralized, and it's really just a science experiment. There's a lot of that going on, and that it's not really a cryptocurrency, and that smart contracts aren't really anything useful, and that it doesn't do anything Bitcoin can't also do. All of this detracting from the efforts of the entire Ethereum community, which is not small, right? It is massive. None of that helps to get the word out about crypto or blockchain in a positive light in any way that any serious investor would want to come near, right? So if your interest is in seeing Bitcoin grow in value or crypto grow in value. I don't care what coin you're investing in. I don't care. This isn't investment advice. Do your own research. You know the drill. I'm not a financial advisor and all that stuff. I'm just stating my opinion, and this is entertainment. Yay. So, if your interest is in seeing the market prices go up, this year, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't care what your time frame is, and I don't care what your coins are, then it's in your interest to not trash talk the competition, right? Unless they actually really severely deserve it because they've done something horribly wrong, then you need to not trash talk them, but clearly state your case about what they've done bad, right? But that isn't the case here. It's just people who are fearing having their coin crushed, because when VCs decide in such a small market that they're just pulling out their money, that's it, your money's done and you dry up and you go away. And we saw over 1,000 coins die last year. And here's something interesting that I put on Facebook a few days ago, I think, and on Twitter, etc. December, I don't think I've seen anywhere else cover this, but December 2018 marked the very first time that Bitcoin fell for 5 months in a row. Right? It ended down 5 months in a row at the end of 2018. That has never happened before. 4 months, that's happened. 3 months, that's happened. Stayed even for a number of months, that's happened. But fallen for 5 months in a row? No. So when people try to make comparisons between previous cycles and this cycle, that is a perfect example of why you can't ever try to time the markets, right? There's no pattern where Bitcoin has fallen 5 months before. It might fall for 6 months now. Who knows? Might go back up. We don't know. You can't time the markets. And because of that, you need to do everything you can. If you're a Bitcoin investor or a Bitcoin developer or a Bitcoin advocate or a Bitcoin whatever, if you're a crypto advocate or developer or anything of those things, investor, I'm not saying you have to go out and cheerlead this stuff, but trash talking stuff out of personal politics or even professional politics doesn't help. If you want the crypto market to grow, you need to address it head on with the issues that matter, like scalability, transparency, decentralization, accountability, all those issues, regulatory affairs, which, by the way, regulatory affairs themselves, right, they're critically important in some sense, right? If you're a flagpole, whatever they call it, flag theory nomad or something like that, if you live outside of the country you were born from and you're essentially free to run around the world, kind of off the grid, as long as you pay your bills and stay off the radar or whatever, then good for you and wonderful. And maybe the rules you think don't apply to you quite the same way. I don't know what your situation is, but if you're like 99% of the humans on the planet, you live in a jurisdiction governed by laws in the country that you are a citizen of, and well, maybe that's not 99%, but I'm sure it is at least 3/4 of the planet, right? 3/4 of humanity and most of the other people who are usually migrant workers and therefore also subject to laws of their host countries, sometimes not as pleasant as citizens. The point is, most people live under laws in countries where they are citizens. And as a result, they are subject to the regulatory affairs of their governments. And as a result, it matters for crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain and all the ecosystem that there be clarity about what's going on with the governments vis-a-vis crypto. And we're getting a bit more clarity, right, this year already, and at the end of last year, bit more clarity here and there about how the SEC views it, how various state, tax authorities view it, how various countries view it. You are constantly seeing development. And those issues are frankly, thousands of times more important than the personal infighting that's happening in Bitcoin and crypto and all that stuff. All that Civil War stuff is just taking the market down. Yeah, you're seeing the market go up. Okay, I get it. But it's quite down from where it was a year ago, right? And this infighting has only been mounting in that time, right? And it's clearly infighting driven by fear, because they see the more the market tumbles, the more the lesser projects fall away and disappear. Again, more than 1,000 cryptos have been eliminated just last year. There's still over 2,000 of them on the market, and there's a bunch more in the wings that aren't even on the market yet, that are still in development. But it's a space where we're seeing a lot of civil war. That's just the bottom line. Political, financial, civil war, whatever you want to call it. And you're seeing it in things like Twitter wars between fans of different cryptos yelling at each other on Twitter, and people making YouTubes of all different kinds of crazy, just noise, trash talking one thing and totally cheerleading the other, and just giving the wrong impression of what crypto really is, how it's useful, and how it can benefit mankind, right? In so many different ways, in so many different areas. So, it's not like I have a soapbox I can stand on and say, you must stop, and everyone will listen to the guy with, whatever, 10 subscribers or something. I don't know, whatever I have. It's not like that. I'm just, for the sake of marketing, whoever watches this, presumably you're into marketing. If you want to succeed at marketing anything in crypto, it's not good for any of your projects when the ecosystem is on fire, and not in a good way, right? There's like, hey man, he's on fire, right? Whatever. I don't know what that is. My horrible Brooklyn. I don't know what. It's not a good thing when all the attention is always about so and so pointed fingers at so and said something not nice, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If that's all that's going on, it sounds childish. Crypto is supposed to be being developed by some of the smartest people on earth, but they're also demonstrating that the stereotype about them having no social skills is also correct, right? Like the leaders of this industry, that are not really leaders really, but they're the most outspoken public faces of various crypto projects. Justin Sun, love him or hate him, and I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I don't know him. He's probably an awesome guy. He's amazing at creating a hype, but he disappoints with the hype and then the failure to deliver so far. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve with the whole BitTorrent token. I don't understand the point of that. If you already have TRON, why do you need to create the BitTorrent token? Are you afraid that people are going to be liable with BitTorrent token? You don't want that to affect TRON's price or liabilities, or I'm not. It's just weird. Like, you bought BitTorrent. Why do you need to separate BitTorrent token from the cryptocurrency whose money you used to buy BitTorrent in order to elevate the status of TRON? It doesn't make sense. I mean, I get it. You're building it on TRON, but you're splitting the coin. Like, okay. Yeah. Also, splitting coins, hard forking, right? On the one hand, I don't agree that you're splitting the coin, something that's never supposed to happen. On a technological level, there's no reason for it not to happen. Litecoin split Bitcoin. It is a hard fork of Bitcoin. Nobody complained about that. Everyone praised it as being a brilliant test maneuver. For some reason, with Bitcoin Cash, they don't like it. Personally, I think it's because the personalities behind Bitcoin Cash are annoying and bad at marketing. Even if they have, when you listen to them speak, sometimes they say wonderful things, right? Roger Ver sounds to some people very passionate about his belief in freedom and all that stuff. And I'm not going to deny him that he's that passionate. He clearly says it a lot. So sure, it's possible he believes it, right? Craig Wright also is very passionate about his vision of Bitcoin, as weird as it is. He's very passionate about it, and he says it without any doubt of his conviction, right? I'm not going to deny that to him. But I am going to say that bringing your personal vendettas into this because of some money here and there, whatever it is you're fighting over. How much money, how much of your wealth did you burn to fight this stupid cash hash war? Now you have much less wealth, right? And you're fighting over a coin that in 5 years, 10 years, probably people won't even remember existed. That's my opinion. Because what is the purpose of it other than to get the guys who own a huge chunk of it more wealth? Like, it seems clearly like a pump and dump. I'm not saying it is a pump and dump, but it sure seems like a very protracted, poorly executed one to me. Um, it's maybe not a pump and dump. Okay, let's not call it that maybe, but it seems like something like, hey, let's make something that can make us a bit more money, and then get rid of it or sell it or whatever, merge it back in a bit. I don't know what they would do. Um, I don't see any long term value. Like, I get Litecoin, I really do. Here's what I get about it, and I understand why people don't get it. There is a strong value in having a test net, essentially cryptocurrency. It also has to have a use case for practical purposes, right? But otherwise, no one's going to use it as money. And if you're using your cryptocurrency money as sort of a test pilot, sort of putting it at risk more than Bitcoin to protect Bitcoin from stepping on a big pile of mistakes, then you're kind of saying to Bitcoin, I'm your, I don't want to say the word, but like, I'll do whatever you want, boss. And you're kind of being submissive to Bitcoin in a weird way that isn't natural for any asset to be. Assets aren't usually submissive. Well, I guess you could argue that various currencies are submissive to other currencies. Okay, that is arguable. But it's not that they're submissive, it's that they, after, they realize where they are on the totem pole, but they're still competing to get to the top. With Litecoin, it's like they're masochists almost. They're like, okay, we'll be number two. We'll call ourselves lesser than Bitcoin. And if anything goes wrong with the science experiments, we want it to happen to us first. We want to catch the disease first. We want to be the whipping boy, and we want to be the test pilot, and we want to be the crash test dummy. It doesn't really speak volumes for your belief in your own work when you're saying we're willing to be your guinea pig, right? Like, it doesn't say much about what you stand for other than just being a guinea pig, which we all know what happens to them eventually, right? It's not a fun end. So, those are some of the things just in light, and that's not a civil war. That's a very civil agreement. They're helping each other in a way, but really, it's not an equal situation, right? It's master servant or whatever you want to call it, and it's weird. Um, Again, I like Litecoin in many senses. I really think it does have a good use case as a test net, but it does also have a good use case as a practical form of currency. Because, I mean, yes, you could use Bitcoin just as much, but if people are going to be less apt to use their Bitcoin and just hold it and think of it as gold in that sense to store their value, they're going to use Litecoin for their day-to-day cash. Maybe, maybe not. That's still to be decided, to be determined. But that again, that's not a bad civil war. That's just, it's a weird, complex situation, and that's again why these complex situations have to get more attention from the proper uh, direction and in the proper focus. We need to be looking at what actually matters to these coins and not just what we want them to be doing. Um, and we need to be looking at how and actually making them better as opposed to just yelling at each other, right? whoever the different actors are that are yelling at each other. So, okay, I know I've gone on a long time about this, but I just wanted to mention that. And that's going to be it for now. So thanks again for watching. Join, subscribe, like, comment, share, blah, blah, blah. Engage. Thank you. This is YouTube. That's how it's done. And tell your friends and all that stuff. So till next time, take care.